So you're considering a move to the great state of Texas, but you're not sure which city is the best spot for you. Well, you've definitely come to the right place. When people think of Texas, they often think of our four major metros, which are Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and San Antonio. Now, being born and raised in Texas with family in all of these major metros, I'm going to highlight the key differences that you definitely need to know to ultimately help you decide which place to call home. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to first rank these cities in terms of size, starting from smallest to largest. Now, keep in mind, these are all major metros that sit within the top 10 most populous cities in the entire country. If we're talking just about the cities themselves and not the entire metro of each location, which I'll dive into here shortly, you have Austin with close to 1 million people, Dallas at roughly 1.5 million people, San Antonio a little bit closer to 1.5 million people, and Houston as the largest and most populated city in the state of Texas at 2.3 million. It's very important to point out that there are dozens of suburbs surrounding each of these cities, making up a much larger metropolitan area. If we include the entire Austin metro, which currently covers 6 counties and a landmass of roughly 5,000 square miles, that total population nearly triples to 2.5 million people. On the flip side, in larger cities like Houston, the landmass actually doubles and the population triples to close to 7.5 million people. As you probably suspect, this size difference makes for a very different experience city to city, so let's talk more about that. In the larger cities like Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, you'll find more of that extensive urban development and a very sprawling city layout that covers a large land area that I mentioned. Because of this, the cities have a very complex network of highways and infrastructure to ultimately accommodate these populations and the large businesses. On that note, Austin's smaller size has led to a much more compact and concentrated urban core, and the road systems are not as robust as what you're going to find in these other larger cities. With that being said, though, it does lend itself to a much more local feel to the city as opposed to some of these massive metropolitan setups that you're going to find, especially in Houston and Dallas, but certainly even in San Antonio. Before I circle right back to that, let's actually lay out the geographical location of each city. Now, remember, Texas is actually the second largest state in the entire country and covers nearly 300,000 square miles of land, which means you're certainly going to experience big differences between each city in terms of climate and weather patterns, certainly outdoor activities associated with each. That is assuming you actually want to be outside based on the weather you're going to find in one of these key cities, which I'll dive into here momentarily. To prove that I'm not actually picking favorites, we're going to go in the order of the largest to smallest population, starting with the largest city here in Texas, Houston. You're actually situated farther east and close to the Gulf of Mexico when you're in Houston. Because of this, definitely going to experience a much warmer and more humid climate than you will in some of these other cities, which also makes it suitable for many water-based activities like boating and fishing along the coast, just a short distance away from the Houston metro. Of course, this is really nice for the avid boaters and fishermen out there, but if that's not really your cup of tea, it may not be for you. For the day-to-day living, though, you should prepare yourself for feeling like you're sitting in a sauna in these warmer months. Also, if you have some high maintenance hair like I do, don't get upset if you have frequent bad hair days. It just comes with the territory in that muggy weather. It's also really important to point out that because of Houston's Gulf Coast location, you can also expect to experience occasional hurricanes and tropical storms, which can definitely lead to flooding and other unexpected events. You'll want to pay very close attention to these things when you are purchasing a home. From a natural beauty standpoint, Houston is primarily flat with many pretty large oak trees throughout certain parts of the city and surrounding suburbs. The more north you go, north of the Houston metro, you'll actually get into some large pine trees and some more really nice wooded areas. So that's definitely not the norm in the Houston area, but you can certainly find some really pretty, mainly suburbs around Houston. Working our way southwest to San Antonio, you're going to find a much less muggy climate because you're farther west from the Gulf that I mentioned. That's not to say it doesn't get hot. It's just a little bit more comfortable though because of less humidity in the distance from the Gulf. In San Antonio, the topography starts to get more hilly as you work your way west into the Texas Hill Country, which is super gorgeous. You'll find mature oak trees and rolling hills in many of these locations. Around San Antonio, you'll also find several lakes, including Canyon Lake, just north of the city as you head towards the Austin area. Before I circle back to Austin, let's actually jump up to Dallas in North Texas. The Dallas-Fort Worth area is primarily flat farmland that's been developed over the years, and you're actually so much farther away from the Gulf, like I mentioned in Houston, helping even more with that humidity component. Although it does get warm in Dallas, you're going to find primarily sunny skies, much less humidity, like I mentioned, and cooler winters. You'll also find several lakes in the surrounding areas, which can be a really nice change of scenery from the somewhat plain, flat areas of the metro. Circling back to Austin, I think this is the most pretty city of the four, and that has so much to do with where it is located. Austin is situated in the picturesque hill country of Texas, providing more of that rolling hills landscape even in the center of the city, which is very unusual for most locations, especially in Texas. In terms of opportunities for outdoor activities like hiking, biking, and swimming in the natural springs and lakes, I would also say that Austin offers much more of this, again, largely due to the type of topography and landscape that Austin has in that city, including spots near downtown like Lady Bird Lake, Barton Springs, and even Lake Travis, just 30 minutes west of downtown Austin. I do want to quickly welcome you to the channel or back to the channel. My name is Aubrey von Behren. I'm a licensed real estate broker here in the Austin metro. We've helped hundreds of people relocate to the area and would certainly love to be your real estate resource of choice. So if you're considering buying or selling in the Austin area, or we could be a resource for you in any way, be sure to contact us in this information below. Before highlighting some of the more specific entertainment offerings, let's talk about the overall vibe, so to speak, and what each city is actually known for. Starting again in Houston, three words that really summarize the city are diverse, dynamic, and cosmopolitan. Houston has a large international population, mainly having to do with its economic powerhouse that is especially known for its energy sector, in particular oil and gas. The Texas Medical Center, the world's largest medical complex, also plays a significant role in the local Houston economy. It's working our way back southwest to San Antonio. The three words I'd use to describe this city are relaxed, historical, and family friendly. I guess that's a little bit more than three words, but you get the idea. The city has a more relaxed atmosphere compared to the other major Texas cities, with the popular Riverwalk and other historic sites that you've probably heard of, such as the Alamo, which are all incredibly rich in Texas history and definitely a must-see if you're paying a visit to the area. San Antonio's economy is diverse, with strong sectors in military, healthcare, tourism, and financial services. The presence of several military bases really adds the city's unique character, I find, as well. San Antonio also has a very large Hispanic population with heavy influences in the city's culture, food, and festivals, specifically the Mission Trail and the city's awesome annual fiesta, another must-see when you're in Texas, specifically in April. Now, bypassing Austin and heading back up north to Dallas, we're going to call this city modern, fast-paced, and sophisticated. Dallas is known for its high-end shopping, dining, and art scene, which I'll be talking about here momentarily. The city has more of that cosmopolitan feel with a really strong emphasis on business and professional life. Many of the residents are career-focused, contributing to a more fast-paced environment, and Dallas itself has a really robust economy with major industries including finance, technology, and telecommunications. Also, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is a significant economic cultural hub in the state of Texas. Dallas also attracts a diverse population with its variety of industries, including many young professionals and families, all in the greater DFW metro. The city is known for its modern infrastructure and rapidly growing suburbs overall. We're just about to dive into entertainment in each of these spots, so stick with me. But first, Austin's vibe is one that is known for being more creative, laid back, and certainly eclectic. We're losing a little bit of that keep Austin weird mentality that so many people always tout, but it's still there slightly. The Austin economy is booming, driven largely by the tech industry. It's also home to many startups and large tech companies, earning it the nickname Silicon Hills. It's also important to note, though, that Austin is the state capital of Texas, so a large population of government positions do exist, as well as the University of Texas at Austin. Medical and local grocers are also very large employers in the Austin area. Touted as the live music capital of the world, Austin is famous for its vibrant music scene, including the annual South by Southwest and Austin City Limits, aka ACL. The city attracts a diverse crowd of artists, musicians, and tech professionals with its overall laid back, outdoorsy vibe, with many of the residents enjoying activities like hiking, biking, and kayaking throughout the numerous parks and great hill country spots that I will be highlighting here shortly. When you're considering a new city to live, I know how important it is to ultimately love where you live. So let's talk about the entertainment offerings you can expect in all of these cities. Houston offers a cosmopolitan entertainment scene with a strong emphasis on the performing arts, a wide range of culinary options, and certainly a vibrant nightlife, especially with the sheer size of the city. Houston's theater district is second only to New York City, offering a wide range of performances from ballet to opera and so much more. The museum district actually features 19 museums, including the Museum of Fine Arts and the Houston Museum of Natural Science. For the sports fans out there, it's also home to many pro sports teams such as the Astros, Rockets, and Texans. That's one of my pain points with Austin, but I'll talk to you a little bit more about that here in a minute. San Antonio is much more rich in historical attractions and family-friendly entertainment with a much more relaxed nightlife and significant focus on cultural events. The downtown Riverwalk is more of the central hub for dining and entertainment, and with the development of the Pearl area with Hotel Emma and a great food scene, you have more locals actually venturing into the spot throughout the week than you've seen in prior years before that redevelopment happened. You also have the Alamo and Mission Trail right around the corner from this spot, so it's a big central area for tourism especially. Also, for the pro sports fans, you're going to get this in San Antonio with the Spurs NBA team. As I mentioned, you're also in the Texas Hill Country in San Antonio, so you're going to find pretty city and state park and neighborhoods with those really nice hill country views and hilly topography that so many people love when they're coming to the area. Moving right along to Dallas, although you have less of the natural beauty, Dallas certainly prides itself on having the largest urban arts district in the entire United States, including the Dallas Museum of Art and the Winspear Opera House. You also have the Great Perot Museum of Nature and Science as a major attraction in the area. Dallas certainly has a mix of nightlife for really whatever your heart desires, from the more upscale spots in Uptown to the more casual live music scenes that you're going to find in the Deep Ellum location. One of the things I love about Dallas is the great food that you're going to find, from your typical casual spots to even your high-end dining. People in Dallas like to get dressed up, and I find that it's less casual than the other Texas cities that we're covering today. In some areas, especially in your more affluent neighborhoods like Highland Park, the overall feel tends to be much more pretentious though, but it's somewhat dependent on exactly where you are and of course who you're around. Dallas is also home to the Cowboys NFL team, the Mavericks NBA team, and the Dallas Stars hockey team, so no shortage in the area of pro sports. What makes Austin incredibly special is its natural beauty and the plethora of outdoor offerings everywhere you go throughout the city. In other Texas cities, you're not going to find people kayaking through downtown or wake surfing along the Colorado River just minutes from the city's downtown. You have numerous restaurants and coffee shops that overlook the gorgeous scenery of Lady Bird Lake, Lake Austin, and Lake Travis, not to mention the neighborhoods that are built around all of these spots that make for a really fun and pretty quality of life. One of my other favorite things about Austin lately is the fantastic food scene. With the growth and influx of business relocating into the city, we now have restaurants that rival some of the best you'll find in larger cities like LA and New York even. Of course, there are no shortage of these restaurants in the large cities like Dallas and Houston especially, but Austin certainly holds its own when it comes to a great food scene. Now that we've covered some of these details, you're probably leaning towards a couple of cities in particular, and I would love to hear in the comments what cities might be top of mind for you. Now, as you're leaning toward a couple of cities in particular, you might be wondering how they rank in terms of affordability. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Now, keep in mind these rankings can certainly fluctuate based on the economic conditions and location in and around the city, of course, but generally speaking, I'm going to rank these cities from least affordable to most affordable. Unfortunately, starting with Austin, you're going to find the highest cost of living. I think this has a lot to do with the influx of people from other states and certainly corporate relocation into the greater Austin metro, but also the fact that Austin has such a unique setup where people actually want to live close to downtown, an active and vibrant city center that's very different from these other Texas cities. The cost of homes surrounding downtown have skyrocketed because of the demand and ultimate lack of land supply in these central locations. Now, depending on the direction, the farther from the city center, the more you can get for your money. So be sure to check out my other videos highlighting some of these popular neighborhoods in around the greater Austin area, because there are certainly many more affordable locations, especially in most of the suburbs. Working our way to Dallas. Dallas is slightly more affordable than Austin, depending on where you're looking in the metro, but holds similar characteristics overall with the rising housing prices like you're seeing in the Austin area. Houston, being the largest city in Texas, actually offers a wide range of housing options and over a much broader stretch of land that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. For this reason, Houston is our second most affordable city in comparison to Austin and Dallas. Now, that leaves us to San Antonio, which continues to reign supreme when it comes to the most affordable cost of living. I think a big reason we've seen such significant growth and development throughout the stretch of land between Austin and San Antonio is exactly for this reason. As Austin gets more expensive, a section of that urban sprawl is really pushing south towards San Antonio, which is a fantastic city and where I happen to actually be born and raised. Ultimately, the decision of where to live weighs heavily on many factors, including career opportunities, lifestyle preferences, housing costs, and of course, other personal interests. In my opinion, it's really hard to go wrong in any of these Texas cities. There's no shortage of entertainment, good food, nice homes, and certainly friendly people, which is a huge reason so many people relocate to the state of Texas. If you're exploring any of these Texas cities, be sure to reach out to us, as my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. To stay in the know of future videos, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you're alerted of future videos that I'll be putting together for you just like this. Until next time.